Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most important geopolitical moves Europe has seen in years, and it's coming from a country many underestimate. Denmark has just taken a bold step that could reshape the Baltic region for decades. This isn't just about military readiness or diplomatic messaging. This is about a strategic shift that alters power balance, regional control, and the future of Northern Europe. In today's video, we're going to break down what Denmark has done, why it matters, and how this single decision could change the future of the Baltic forever. Many people don't fully understand how crucial Denmark's position is in Europe. When most think of power players, they imagine countries like Germany, France, or the United Kingdom. But Denmark sits on one of the most important geographic choke points in the world, the Danish Straits. These narrow waterways connect the Baltic Sea to the rest of the world. Every Russian naval ship that wants to enter or exit the Baltic must pass through Danish, controlled waters. That gives Denmark a level of influence far greater than its size. Now Denmark is strengthening this advantage with major strategic shifts that send a clear signal to Moscow. The Baltic Sea has been a zone of tension for years. With Russia's aggression in Ukraine, NATO's expansion, and new military alliances forming, the region has become a critical flashpoint. Denmark has decided that waiting and watching is not enough. Instead, it has taken the initiative by boosting its military readiness, expanding its defense cooperation with Baltic nations, and modernizing its surveillance and response capabilities. These steps are designed to ensure that Denmark and its allies remain in control of the Baltic Sea, no matter what Moscow plans next. One of the most important changes Denmark has made is enhancing its ability to monitor every movement in the Baltic. Advanced surveillance systems, upgraded radar, and expanded patrols now allow Denmark to track ships, aircraft, and submarines with greater precision than ever. This matters because Russia has been increasing naval activity in the region, including submarine deployments and intelligence gathering missions. Denmark's new systems allow NATO to react faster and more effectively to any suspicious activity, closing the window for Russian surprise maneuvers. At the same time, Denmark is doubling down on its commitment to support NATO forces in the Baltic. This includes hosting more military exercises, facilitating rapid troop movement, and improving infrastructure needed for large-scale defense operations. Denmark is preparing not only for potential conflict, but for deterrence. The message is clear. Any attempt by Russia to challenge NATO's control of the Baltic will be met with a united and well-prepared response. Denmark's strategic location makes it vital for NATO reinforcement routes, meaning its role is more important than many realize. But the biggest change Denmark has made isn't just military, it's political. Denmark is actively shaping the future of Baltic security by pushing for deeper cooperation between Nordic and Baltic states. This includes intelligence sharing, joint maritime patrols, coordinated cybersecurity measures, and unified defense strategies. For years, these countries worked together but lacked a fully integrated framework. Denmark is now helping build that structure. With Sweden and Finland joining NATO, the entire northern region becomes a closely connected security network, and Denmark is right at the center of it. This shift is especially important because Russia has relied on fragmentation in the region. By keeping countries divided or uncertain, Moscow hoped to exploit gaps in coordination. Denmark's new approach closes those gaps. When nations share intelligence instantly, train together regularly, and plan defense strategies jointly, it becomes extremely difficult for Russia to use misinformation, intimidation, or military pressure. Denmark is helping create unity where Russia hoped for division. Another major component of Denmark's new strategy is energy security. The Baltic Sea is home to key pipelines, offshore platforms, and undersea cables that Europe depends on. After attacks on the Nord Stream pipelines, countries realized how vulnerable these systems are. Denmark is leading efforts to secure critical infrastructure with new monitoring technologies, underwater drones, and rapid response units. Protecting these assets doesn't just prevent physical damage, it also protects Europe's economy, stability, and independence from hostile interference. Denmark's decisions also reshape how NATO operates. For years, NATO's eastern flank was centered on land. Base concerns in Poland and the Baltic states. Denmark is helping shift the focus toward the sea. The Baltic is now recognized as one of the most strategically important waterways in the world. Whoever controls it controls access, mobility, and dominance in Northern Europe. Denmark's new initiatives ensure that NATO's presence is strong, adaptable, and ready to counter any challenge. A key part of Denmark's approach is flexibility. Instead of relying solely on large, traditional forces, Denmark is investing in fast response units, mobile missile systems, advanced drones, and cutting-edge maritime defense platforms. These tools allow Denmark to react quickly to evolving threats, whether it's a hostile submarine, an unauthorized aircraft, or cyber intrusion targeting maritime systems. Flexibility is becoming just as important as firepower in modern warfare, and Denmark understands this perfectly. There is also a wider strategic vision behind Denmark's moves. The goal isn't just to prevent conflict. It's to shape an environment where conflict becomes nearly impossible. When the Baltic is filled with coordinated patrols, strong alliances, and advanced surveillance, it becomes extremely difficult for any hostile action to go unnoticed. This creates deterrence not through threats, but through visibility and readiness. Denmark is working to ensure that the Baltic Sea is a place where peace is enforced through preparedness. Denmark is also strengthening partnerships with non-Baltic NATO allies who rely on Baltic access for strategic mobility. This includes the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Netherlands. Joint naval exercises, shared logistics networks, and integrated planning allow NATO forces to operate seamlessly in the region. Denmark's role as a connector between continental Europe, the Arctic, and the Atlantic makes it a vital hub in NATO's defensive architecture. One thing that often gets overlooked is Denmark's expertise in maritime operations. For decades, Denmark has been one of the world leaders in sea-based logistics, naval engineering, and maritime safety. The same expertise that helped Denmark become a global shipping powerhouse is now being applied to defense. Denmark's navy may not be the largest, but it is highly modern, technologically advanced, and strategically positioned. Its ability to close the Danish Straits in minutes gives it immense strategic power. Another critical factor is public support. In Denmark, public opinion has shifted dramatically since the war in Ukraine. Danes now overwhelmingly support higher defense spending, stronger alliances, and proactive national security policies. This political unity gives the government strength to move quickly and decisively without internal obstacles. When a nation is aligned internally, it can act externally with confidence. Denmark's leaders understand the stakes, and the population stands behind them. To understand how Denmark is reshaping the future, we also need to look at how Russia views the Baltic. Russia considers the region essential for projecting naval power and protecting its western flank. The Baltic Fleet, based in Kaliningrad, is one of Russia's most important military assets, but the fleet is effectively trapped behind NATO-controlled waters. Denmark's new measures tighten that control even more. Every move Russia makes becomes more predictable, more visible, and more restricted. This creates a strategic dilemma for Moscow. If it wants to maintain influence in the region, it must either increase its military pressure or seek diplomatic openings. But with Denmark strengthening its position and NATO unified, neither option is easy. Military pressure risks escalation, while diplomacy requires concessions. Russia is finding itself in a shrinking geopolitical space, and Denmark's actions accelerate this trend. Economic factors are also at play. The Baltic Sea is a major trade route, and Denmark's stability ensures smooth commerce for the region. Any conflict or tension disrupts shipping, raises insurance costs, and affects global markets. By asserting control and improving security, Denmark protects not only its economy but the broader European supply chain. This gives Denmark leverage far beyond military matters. Nations depend on stable trade routes, and Denmark is making sure they remain stable. But why does this matter for the long-term future of the Baltic? Because Denmark's actions set a new baseline for regional security. From now on, high readiness, strong alliances, and advanced surveillance will be permanent features of the Baltic landscape. This prevents sudden shifts in power and makes it harder for any single nation, especially Russia, to challenge the status quo. Denmark is effectively helping lock in a future where NATO dominance in the Baltic is stable and unquestioned. Another reason Denmark's decision is so impactful is timing. The world is in a period of geopolitical uncertainty. The war in Ukraine, rising tensions in the Arctic, competition over energy routes, and shifting global alliances all create volatility. By acting now, Denmark positions itself as a stabilizing force at a moment when stability is in short supply. This not only protects the region, but also elevates Denmark's international influence. Innovation is also a major part of Denmark's strategy. Cyber defense, AI-driven surveillance, autonomous drones, and advanced communication networks allow Denmark to stay ahead of emerging threats. Modern conflict is no longer just about tanks and ships. It's about data, speed, and adaptability. Denmark is embracing this reality faster than many other countries. Its investments in technology give it an edge that traditional military powers sometimes overlook. Denmark is also working to reduce strategic vulnerabilities. This includes strengthening air defenses, protecting critical ports, and upgrading coastal fortifications. These steps reduce opportunities for sabotage or surprise strikes. In a region where tensions can rise quickly, minimizing vulnerabilities is essential for long-term stability. Denmark is building layers of security that make the region more resilient. Another major shift is the growing alignment between Denmark, Sweden, Finland, Norway, and the Baltic states. For the first time in history, nearly the entire northern region is part of a unified security alliance. This creates a strategic shield stretching from the Arctic to Central Europe. Denmark sits at the heart of this shield, coordinating movement, communication, and defense planning. This unity dramatically reinforces NATO's northern flank. Russia cannot ignore this transformation. For years, it relied on the assumption that Nordic countries would stay neutral or divided. Now they are united, well-armed, and deeply integrated with NATO. Denmark's leadership in building this unity is one of the most significant geopolitical developments of the decade. This changes not only the Baltic region, but the broader balance between NATO and Russia. Beyond military and political changes, Denmark is influencing the future of the Baltic through diplomacy. Denmark has become a strong voice in international forums, pushing for stricter regulations on maritime security, energy safety, and regional cooperation. When a country combines strong defense with effective diplomacy, it gains influence far beyond its borders. Denmark is demonstrating that leadership is not about size, but about vision and action. Tourism, trade, and environmental protection also play roles in Denmark's strategy. The Baltic Sea faces environmental challenges including pollution, overfishing, and climate impacts. By leading regional efforts to protect the environment, Denmark creates trust and partnership with neighboring countries. This may not seem directly related to security, but environmental cooperation builds long-term stability and mutual dependence, which discourages conflict. Denmark's modernization of its military is another factor shaping the future. New frigates, upgraded air defenses, modern fighter jets, and advanced coastal systems allow Denmark to respond to threats faster and more effectively. These upgrades ensure that Denmark can defend its territory while supporting allies. Modernization is not just about equipment, but about adapting to changing warfare, and Denmark is doing exactly that. Economic policy is also aligned with Denmark's security goals. Investments in technology, maritime infrastructure, and renewable energy reduce dependence on volatile markets. A strong, self-reliant economy provides steady funding for defense and allows Denmark to remain resilient in times of crisis. Stability at home supports strength abroad, and Denmark understands this connection clearly. The geopolitical message behind Denmark's actions is unmistakable. Denmark is no longer content to be a silent player. It is stepping into a leadership role because the stakes are too high to remain passive. The Baltic Sea is a gateway, a battleground, and a lifeline for Northern Europe. Whoever shapes its future shapes the region's destiny. Denmark's bold decisions ensure that the future is stable, secure, and aligned with democratic values. As we look ahead, it's clear that Denmark's influence in the Baltic will only grow. With stronger alliances, modernized forces, advanced technology, and a clear strategic vision, Denmark is becoming one of the most important players in Northern Europe. This doesn't mean Denmark seeks conflict. It means Denmark seeks control over its destiny and protection for its region. Denmark's actions send a powerful message. Small countries can make big changes. When a nation understands its strategic importance and acts decisively, it can shift the balance of power. Denmark has done exactly that. Its decisions today will shape the Baltic for years, perhaps decades. The future of the region is being rewritten, and Denmark is holding the pen. As the Baltic becomes more contested and the world becomes more unpredictable, Denmark's leadership will matter even more. Nations across Europe and the world are watching this small Nordic country redefine its role on the global stage. Denmark is proving that responsibility, readiness, and resolve can reshape the future. The Baltic Sea is entering a new era, and Denmark is leading the way. This is why Denmark's latest decisions are so important. They are not isolated actions, but part of a long-term blueprint for regional stability. They strengthen alliances, secure vital waterways, deter aggression, and modernize defense. These moves ensure that the Baltic remains a region of peace and cooperation rather than conflict and instability. In the end, Denmark has changed the future of the Baltic forever. Its choices today create a safer tomorrow. Its leadership ensures that the region remains strong, united, and ready for whatever challenges come next. The Baltic has entered a new chapter, and Denmark is the reason why.